Hi all, and welcome to the channel for this latest update on Harrington, my N-gauge layout based on the town of the same name in West Cumbria. In this video I add the first buildings to the layout using off-the-shelf kits, a bit of kit bashing and some scratch building. I've been looking for opportunities to get my son involved in the making of this layout. And so for the primary school on the hill above Harrington, rather than scratch build one, I thought it'd be fun to try and make one of these Metcalfe village kits together. Which, yeah, turned out to be quite good fun. As with all Metcalfe kits I've made, it was fairly straightforward to put together with easy to follow instructions, which helped keep my son interested. So he did the gluing and the assembling, while I did the cutting. And here's the final thing. Yeah, not bad for a first go, even if there are a few slight misalignments, but here and there. But I think, yeah, for a first go, I think it looks really good. Tried adding some internal lighting, which looks okay. There's a few little bits of light bleeding where the edges won't quite align perfectly. But for the right angle, you don't really notice it that much. It probably would have been better to add some internal rooms to give a more realistic lighting effect. But as this first kit together, I wanted to keep the assembly nice and straightforward as per the instructions. I'm going to scratch build the playground rather than use the one you can see in the video, because it's a bit of a boring, large, flat area. And a lot of the playgrounds that I've ever played on as a kid at school were not flat, and I configure this. If I make my own, I can configure it better to the actual layout. And having made one of these kits and having a look at the prototype again, I am starting to wonder if maybe I could join two of them together to be a better representation of the actual school. But yeah, overall, as a first kit, I think we've yeah, done really well. Following the school, we started work on a pair of Metcalfe terraced houses. So like the school, they were quite easy to put together, and my son was able to help with the gluing and assembling again. To make the houses look a little bit more like they belonged in Harrington, I decided to modify the brick frontage using some Scalescenes building textures as a wrap over the exterior. And despite the extra width that the paper added, these buildings came together quite nicely. I've added some interior rooms to the houses, as I'm going to add lighting to these as well. And yeah, as I said, I think they just look a lot better when you've got the individual rooms to kind of manage where the light goes. Um, I've also had to add some additional cards to prevent some of the light bleeding around the edges. But generally, with the Metcalfe card, I found it to be quite thick, so you don't need to use that much compared to some of the scratch-built buildings I've made over the years. Um, the roof is also different, so I've used Scalescenes um, tile texture for this, which gives quite a good 3D effect, but it does take quite a lot of time to do. I keep flip-flopping between these roofs and whether I like them or not. For the first few buildings I tried them on, they look quite uneven, which was fine for kind of older buildings, but for newer buildings, I didn't think they looked that great. And so for a while I went away from using them, but I tried them again on the modern flats I made for my crow row layout, taking a bit more time putting them together and making sure that everything was nice and even and straight. And yeah, I've started to of course like them again, and I'm back in. They're back in favour, and I do think if you get it right, they do look a lot better than the 2D roofs. And this is yeah, the end result. And as a sort of final touch, I did a few bits of plasticard for the windowsills and surrounds, which were then painted with an acrylic paint pen. As at this point, I decided to protect the print paper, using a sort of varnish type thing that I've got. What that annoyingly did, though, was cause all the acrylic paint to run and ruin the paper. So that was quite annoying. A few choice words were said, but I thought it was recoverable. So all I did was just repaint it using white acrylic, and this came out, and I think it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. But yeah, there's a lesson learned there to seal the printed paper before applying any additional layers to it. The final building I'll be working on is number 2 Church Road. So this is scratch built from cereal packets, paper, and a little bit of plasticard again. The dimensions were estimated from Google Maps, and I used some of the Scalescenes kits as I've downloaded over the years as an estimate for the height. The building templates were then drawn up in Inkscape, then printed to sticky labels and stuck to cards, and then cut around with a scalpel. I've added a few extra layers of card to the walls because it's a single layer of cereal packets, not that strong. But if you had a few layers, it works quite well. I'm making sure, obviously, to cut out holes for the windows. The walls are then clad in Scalescenes building texture. So this is the one that I found that most closely resembled the actual house. And then the windows were done using the sticky label method, where you print out an outline of the window, cut it out, and then you're left with this nice little window surround with where you can see through the windows. So yeah, looks quite good. As with the Metcalfe Terrace, I've added some rooms, one of which will be lit with a small LED light, which also necessitated adding a few more bits of card again to prevent some of the light bleeding through the walls, which as I said, you kind of notice it more on this seal packet because I guess the card's quite a lot thinner. The roof, again, Scalescenes, roofing tiles, again being nice and taking my time, getting everything, looking good, nice and straight, and yeah, the end result kind of shows the effort I put in, I think. And again, we've got the plasticard around the doors and the windows that were applied after I'd varnished the paint. So yeah, the paper, sorry. So yeah, all good. And yeah, here are the 3 buildings on the layout. So really pleased with how they've come together. I think despite the slight differences in scale, so Metcalfe tend to be a bit bigger than the other manufacturers, and particularly Scalescenes and the Grenfire buildings. You can see here there's quite a bit of a difference. But if you actually look at the Church Road, there is quite a difference in the different heights of the buildings. So I think altogether, I think they should work quite well. That's kind of where we're at. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this latest update on Harrington. If you did, please leave a like, consider leaving a comment, and yeah, I'll see you all next time.